Claire, to me, is the straightest place that I think I've ever lived. If I go to the mall, I feel incredibly that everybody is straight there.
I would say that there are certain aspects of it that are welcoming, but if I had to say on the whole, no.
I think it is an overall welcoming place, but there are problems. We try to have a good LGBTQ community here, but it's not necessarily the case.
I take a walk any night of the week. 1 out of 3 times, somebody in a pickup truck yells at my partner and I. Why are they yelling? Is it because we might be dykes? I don't know. I don't know why they're yelling, but I can say that when I walk by myself, nobody yells at me. It's only when I'm with my partner. So that kind of just level of you don't, feel that good in your town and you want to walk around your town makes you just kind of give up a little bit.
I think that in rural communities like this, there is still such a stigma attached to sexual orientation.
I see people that are fragmented. I see people that are basically assimilated as pseudo-straight. It's just there aren't a lot of openly gay couples that feel really comfortable here and walk down the streets hand in hand, willing to dodge whatever gets thrown at them from pickup trucks. It's a place that I would describe as more closeted, as more suppressed, I guess I would say. I don't want to necessarily oppressed, but it's like people are within themselves.
As a youth, and through the coming out process, even if you're out, you still want people that make you feel comfortable and make you feel accepting. Especially if you're bullied and have problems, you need people to talk to. I was bullied, I was picked on. It sucks. I can tell you right now, if I was in my hometown, I probably would have committed suicide, and I can say that without a doubt because I've contemplated it before, but I realized it's not worth it. I've tried. Yeah, I've tried. It sucks to admit it, but I've tried, and I know a couple of my other friends who have tried because of the bullying. It's really, really, really tough to sit and go to school and be picked on every single day. They just say, oh, you'll be fine, brush off your shoulders. It's not fine after a while. It's just not. It's your lowest point in your life. And all you can say is, you'll make it through, it'll get better, and you'll find other ways to build upon yourself and to build up yourself, and you'll be fine at the end.
It's a difficult community, I think, in which to come out. And I mean, I've had some students that have been very excited to graduate because they can finally leave here, move to someplace bigger where they can feel more comfortable being gay or lesbian.
There needs to be more. We need to have a stronger community.
There have been gains, but there's still an awful lot of discrimination and hatred and misinformation and stereotypes.
When I go to San Francisco and I think, what if Eau Claire burnt down and my house burnt down, I wouldn't be all that upset, except I do love my job. So, I mean, that just says something about, I don't really feel that my home is Eau Claire, even though it has been for 7 years.
The atmosphere.
The atmosphere and the Castro.
Casual.
A lot of basics. There is a lot of traditions
Yeah.
that are still kept.
Traditions.
So,
And we get lots and lots of tourists. So we get to sort of intermingle with all the countries in the world, really.
yeah. A lot of gay people from around the world. I had a couple here from, I believe it was from Arizona, and one of the guys was crying, and I says, what's the matter? And he says, we can't do this at home. We cannot go down hand in hand. We cannot kiss in public. And he just started crying. He says, you people are so lucky here that you have the freedom, you can do that, and nobody looks down on you. So that's one nice thing about this area, or this whole town.
I moved to the Bay Area because I grew up on a farm, and I love my farm and love where I come from. from, but I wanted to move to an area where there were other people like me. And because I grew up on a farm, and I love my farm and love where I come from, but I wanted to move to an area where there were other people like me, and where I wouldn't get strange looks, more, there was a greater diversity of people, and thus where I fit into that range of people was acceptable, you know?
They leave a lot of their hometowns to create a community, and so it stays strong and stays together.
Well, that's interesting. This is my first time in San Francisco ever. I flew in yesterday, but I really appreciate the vibe here. I've been hanging out with my cousins, and the interesting thing is that it's... Well, that's interesting.
In San Francisco, the LGBT community is a lot more open and happy to express themselves, and it's also a lot bigger and more diverse and stuff, while in Ireland it's quite closed.
You know, this was the birth of the, hippie movement, and most people don't know before that it was the beat poet stuff that was here too. So really, for like 50, 60 years, going on 70, it's been this, home base of equality, and freedom. Yeah.
The people, everyone's so different, but they all make it the same.
I think sort of just a general atmosphere of support and respect.
You can basically be who you want to be. Today's Gay Pride and I'm dressed as Robin, but if I walked out of my house on June 4th, nobody would really bat an eye.
There's a lot of freedoms that you don't have in other cities and other towns without being looked down on. Here you don't get looked down on. It's a freedom of way of life. People fought for all the rights that we have. The younger people don't realize where it all came from, but everybody fought for every inch of the way.
I think the way you build community is by, having individuals that feel empowered and are willing to share that with people. Not necessarily in a militant way, but just be willing to share that.
You have to educate people, as I, argued in the 70s in Milwaukee. Look, I'm no different from you all. I get up in the morning, I look in the mirror, I put on my pants, I come to work. The only thing that makes me different is I happen to like men and you don't. And that's, I think, the issue that needs to be brothers, sisters, uncles, cousins, sisters, aunts. Everybody needs to understand that gay people are just people.
Don't feel like you have to be an expert. I'm not going to guess, and I'm not going to guess who you are. I'm not going to guess what your race is. I'm not going to guess what your gender is, and I'm certainly not going to guess what your sexual orientation is. But I'm going to ask, so you know that this is a space that if you want to talk about it, you can.
I think that in some ways we're starting to see a more engaged community than we were even a couple of years ago. I think that it takes a community to create community. We seem to be faced with a lot of apathy now. Apathy as it relates to the political climate, apathy as it relates to HIV/AIDS, apathy as it relates to the health of LGBT youth. I think one of the things that really needs to happen is we kind of need to get over that hurdle first and try to re-energize people to get engaged and get involved.
Just help. Just go out and help and be that friend, be that ally, be that person that they can lean on.
We live in a culture that tolerates difference and maybe even accepts differences, but certainly doesn't celebrate differences.
It's about having good times and celebrating. And it should be social, it should be recreational, it should be fun. So it doesn't all have to be about fixing the community. It's about celebrating the community first.
Do it. Just absolutely go for it. And get as many people involved as you can, because the more people that you can get involved, the more people you can educate, the more students you can get from committing suicide, the better. It's not even possible to repay a human life.